Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this special bulletin. The war on gamers is getting hot and heated, and it looks like we get to add another studio to the long list of companies that hate you. In this little article from That Park Place, Cornerstone Interactive Studios CEO Lizette Teetry Montgomery claims gaming executives surrendered the video game industry to, quote, angry, racist, and sexist. Oh my goodness. We're all angry, racist, and sexist again. I start to wonder, do they have any other words to use in their script? Because it's getting a little tiresome because we keep hearing the same thing over and over and over again. If you criticize a company for anything whatsoever, and there's a black woman involved, you are angry, racist, and sexist, misogynist, blah, blah, blah. Like, what? Who decided that you are not allowed to criticize a woman, a black man, a gay person, whatever? When did that become a thing? If you do or say something foolish and someone brings it to light and has something in response, that doesn't make them a bigot just because of your skin color or your genitalia or how you wish to see yourself. It means you said something foolish and people have a rebuttal. Teetry Montgomery, who, according to her LinkedIn profile, began working in the video game industry in 2005 at EA. That explains a little bit. And has worked at Backbone Entertainment, Ubisoft. Yeah, that's another wonderful company. How's their games doing? And Double Fine Productions, never heard of them, took to X, where she wrote, quote, "The numbers don't lie. Wokeism is just sparkling profits." Oh, how's Forspoken going? What about Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League? How'd that work out for you? That nonsense. The Psychonauts 2 art director added, quote, "Beware, spineless gaming execs. We are coming for that money you left on the table, surrendering your communities to angry racists and sexist. Their poison is in your soul, and you will never get it out. Time for a new era of gaming." Why on the hell are these people so melodramatic? My goodness. Now, she's referring, apparently, to this little survey that we're going to talk about in a second. It's so disingenuous, it's not even funny. Anytime you put out a survey, you can manipulate the people. You can manipulate the numbers or manipulate the questions or anything to serve whatever purpose you see fit. And in this case, boy, oh boy, it is glaringly obvious. Her comments came in reaction to a post from Khalif Adams, the founder of podcast Spawn on Me with Khalif Adams. Adams cites a Newzo survey he claimed he worked on while he was at Intel around 2020. As Adam notes in his post, here's where the fun starts. The sample size is kinda small. In fact, according to the survey, only 1,824 individuals participated, and it notes they were recruited. You couldn't even find 2,000 people. That is your sample size for this survey. And then you're going to use that sample size, ages between 10 and 65, and apply that to 2.7 billion gamers in 2021 worldwide. You're going to use a sample size of 2,000 people. I'm sorry, less than 2,000 people as some sort of definitive sample size, accurate sample size to put out this little survey. Are you serious? Of course they are, because, well, they manipulate the survey, they manipulate the sample size in order to get whatever information they need to put towards the investors to push their own personal narrative. On top of this, Intel's gaming and esports general manager, Marcus Kennedy, appears to indicate the entire survey was conducted, here we go, in order to push a diversity and inclusion agenda in gaming. So, you're flat out admitting the survey is nonsense. He writes in the introduction, quote, "The common misconception that all gamers are young white males." Well, I made that mistake recently in a video, got summarily corrected. Honestly, I actually found out that I said something wrong the next day listening to other podcasts. I made the statement that because my Western demographic brain went, it's mostly white males that play their games. Well, no, maybe mostly males, but if you're going into the worldwide demographic of gamers, you're probably skewing more towards an Asian demographic. But according to some people in the sphere, Asian is just white adjacent. My goodness. Could not be further from the truth. You are correct. Unfortunately, I made that mistake. Oopsie, oopsie. Okay, he's correct. I'm not saying he's unfortunately correct. I'm saying I unfortunately run my mouth and said something wrong. Corrected it here. Hope everybody understands. I'm sorry. Practically everybody engages with games in some way, shape, or form. Practically everybody. No. There's quite a few people who just don't see the sense in video games. They see it as a nonsensical waste of time and move on from it. They don't play games. They go outside. They play sports. They follow sports. They do other things. To say that mostly, practically everybody engages with games in some way, shape, or form? No, not quite. Granted, more and more people around the globe are doing this, but I wouldn't say practically everybody. As gaming continues to grow in popularity, biggest section of the entertainment industry, so does its ability to connect people across geographies. There we go, people. Generations and more. And that is, he's got some good words here. But why are you you went on a survey of less than 2,000 people and tried to attribute that 2,000 people to gamers across the globe. And people believed you. Investors believed you probably. And of course, this lovely lady, Lisette, took it and tried to use it as ammunition for her cause. Huh? However, there are many challenges to overcome, and here's where we get into the preachy part. Challenges to overcome when it comes to representation and diversity in gaming. Okay, here's my question. If gaming is so big, now the biggest, most profitable section of the entertainment industry, if that is the case, then why are people trying to claim it needs to be more diverse? There needs to be all these extra characters. They need to make these changes. It's already profitable across the world. Gamers want to play games that are entertaining. Has nothing to do with representation, diversity, inclusion, whatever. They just want good games, fun games. That's it. I don't know how many failures you need after another to understand gamers don't care. But hey, you keep pushing that narrative and your companies will keep failing. Your games will keep failing. We know that there are huge visibility, technology, and accessibility gaps, impacting marginalized and unrepresented communities. Yay, preachy. Furthermore, he seemingly reveals the entire survey was conducted to address this. Quote, in order to address this in real, impactful, and substantial ways, Intel collaborated with Newzoo. That's, okay, let's get down to the fun part. Polls now exist more to shape behavior than quantify it. There we go. It seems apparent that this survey is not actually done to show any kind of real data. Yes, because you only polled 2,000 people. It's nonsense. That's not how you do surveys. Well, unfortunately, I think that is how people do surveys, and they get the incorrect data and extrapolate that onto a worldwide demographic, and that's just nonsense. And I probably used some words there wrong. The introduction by Kennedy appears to prove that assertion and completely discredits the survey, and yet people will still try and use it to further their cause. Nevertheless, as for the survey's findings, it claims that, quote, half of U.S. gamers claim not to play games they felt are not made for them. And I call bullshit, because if that were the case, the gaming industry would not be so big right now. Represents a big opportunity for publishers and developers to meet those needs. They're already meeting those needs because they're putting out fun games, at least the ones that are fun. Video games with more diverse characters are meaningless, nonsensical checkboxes that nobody cares about, nobody wants to play, because the problem that you're running into is that you're putting that diversity, inclusion, and equity ahead of the story, the characters, and the gameplay. And when you do that, which is what is happening, is at least that's what it looks like, your game will fail. Video games with more diverse characters naturally appeal to a broader group. No, they don't, because no, it's the fun of the game that appeals to the group. People don't turn away from a game because the main character doesn't look like them. That is such absolute abject nonsense. Anyone who tells you otherwise is a liar trying to sell you something. It also asserts a significant share of gamers in the U.S. feel game companies should take a stance on societal issues. Bullshit. Irrespective of the respondent's race, gender, identity, sexual orientation, or having a disability. And that is the biggest steaming pile of Triceratops feces I have ever seen or heard. Because, again, people keep saying this. Gamers don't care about your DEI nonsense. Never have and never will. Sitting on the fence for certain. Oh, they definitely don't care about societal issues. They want to get away from the societal issues. They want to get away from the real world, the nonsense of the day-to-day life, because video games are an escape from all that nonsense. And the more you push societal issues into games or make some stupid post on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, gamers will sit there, point and laugh, and ask you when your next good game is going to come out. And if you hadn't put out one in a while, they're going to ask you why you're wasting your time on social media instead of working on the next game and making sure it's a good one. Oh, not only does the survey appear to be attempting to shape a narrative, because it is, an agenda rather than attempting to quantify gaming behavior, why on earth would it do that? Because when they're trying to push a narrative, why would you actually attempt to put legitimate information out there? Factual, accurate, that's the word I'm looking for, accurate information. When all you want to do, again, is, like this article says, you want to push a narrative. That's all you're trying to do. Some recent examples revealed that gamers rejected Saints Row because the dialogue was shit. An Embracer group shut down the developer behind it, Volition. That game, Saints Row, I played it because it was free. I didn't put any money into it. That game came out, I believe, on PC as an absolute buggy mess. People had a lot of complaints about that. But the dialogue, the protagonists were just bad. I mean, for lack of a better term, it was just bad. The dialogue absolutely made me not want to play the game. The cars, the graphics were not terrible. The over-the-top missions were okay. The example I love to give for Saints Row is taking one of the main protagonists around to different fast food places because there was a Happy Meal, essentially a Happy Meal toy that he wanted to get. That is something I can relate to. Okay? And a lot of collectors, a lot of toy collectors, you could relate to that as well. Don't deny it. We would all do it if the opportunity revealed itself. However, the dialogue in the rest of the game was just so off-putting that I have no interest in picking it up again. And it was free. I could play it anytime I want to, and I just have no interest because I'm not interested in the dialogue. Warner Brothers Discovery recently reported that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League performed poorly. And if you got a whiff of the dialogue for the new Joker, my goodness, people are not going to go back to that game. And that was supposed to be an ongoing live service multiplayer co-op game with a game plan for the entire year. People aren't going to go back to that game. You ruined it. Oh, shut down Luminous Productions after Forspoken failed. Oh, that was a bad one. Remedy Entertainment shared that their most recent release, Alan Wake 2, had not broke even yet despite being its fastest selling title. So, you sold a whole bunch real quick and yet you didn't make any money off of it. What do you think they're going to do next? Do you think there's going to be an Alan Wake 3? Interesting. This right here is wonderful because you come at someone with proof. You make the claim that, wokeness in video games is profitable. And yet here we have Mr. The Oldest View, Saints Row, Forspoken, The Avengers, which shut down after what, a year and a half, 2 years? Suicide Squad, Alan Wake 2. These games have damaged or even killed companies. The fuck you on about? To which Lisette responds, sure, had nothing to do with bad investments. This is where the deflection comes in. Okay. What people perceived as wokeness in those games appeared to have affected the dialogue and the gameplay of those games, and they failed. Saints Row Studio shut down. I believe Sushi Squad or the Avengers Studio, that studio got shut down as well. Let's see. Suicide Squad performed badly. Square Enix shut down Luminous Productions after Forspoken failed. So, what happened with the Avengers? Y'all remind me in the comments. Something happened with Avengers. The game is no longer being supported, but didn't that have an effect on the studio? I didn't play it, so I can't remember. I wasn't talking about nonsense like that when the game came out. But here we go, deflection. Bad investments in saturated markets and a rejection of live service models. Even though wasn't Suicide Squad supposed to be a live service model? A rejection of live service models. Gamers are getting to the point where they really don't like the live service models. Just put out a good game. But okay, math is hard. Shut down studios, did not make a profit, lost money, but math is hard for us. Pointing out the failures, and you simply deflect onto something else. How's that going to work out for you? But as the question says, what do you make of Lizette Teatree Montgomery's claims? Is wokeness going to bring gaming back, or is it going to bring it up to where they want it to be? Is it profitable? Wokeness is just sparkling profits. Well, like she says, the numbers don't lie, and the more games like this come out and players see it, they wait for reviews, hold on to that good money, wait for someone to review it, don't pre-order. Check out the nonsense before it comes out. If the game's good, go support the game. If it's trash, if it's preachy, if it's filled with ideological nonsense that doesn't make sense, inorganic, hold on to your money and go buy something else, or play one of the hundreds of games that we all have in our backlog. We'll have to wait and see. But hey, Cornerstone Interactive Studios, just another name to add to the list. Hope you enjoyed. What am I saying? Have a good one, everybody. Do all the nifty stuff that YouTubers beg you to do, and I hope to see you on the next one.